My 29-year-old soon-to-be ex-husband, 34, and I have been together for 6 years and married for 4, though it feels more like we've only been married for 3. When we got married, we signed a prenup. One of the clauses stated that if either party cheated, they would forfeit their right to a substantial portion of our shared assets. My husband made more than me at the time because I was still working on my master's degree. Fast forward to about a year ago, I found out that my husband had been having an affair with a colleague for almost a year because his affair partner messaged me and told me how much he loved her and how I was a witch for refusing to divorce him. I was devastated. After confronting him, he admitted to it, apologized profusely, and begged for another chance. But the trust was shattered and I couldn't see a way to repair our marriage. As we started the divorce proceedings, I brought up the cheating clause in our prenup. My husband was shocked and tried to convince me to overlook it, saying that enforcing it would be vindictive and ruin his financial stability. However, the judge disagreed, ruling that the prenup will be followed because it's considered valid in our state. After the hearing, he involved his family, who accused me of being cold-hearted and vengeful. They argued that people make mistakes and that I was using this as an opportunity to screw him over financially. Here's the thing, I worked hard for everything I have. After I got my master's degree and got my new job, I earned significantly more than him, and most of our assets came from my income and investments. The prenup was meant to protect us both, especially him, considering the disparity in our financial contributions at first, but now it protects me more than him. By enforcing the clause, he stands to lose a considerable amount of money and assets. I understand this will significantly impact his life, but I also feel that actions have consequences. Cheating is a serious betrayal, and the clause was there to protect me from exactly this situation. My friends are divided on the issue. Some say I'm justified and that he knew the risks when he cheated. Others think I'm being too harsh and that I should show some compassion, especially since he's already apologetic and remorseful and they know that with my savings I could easily buy him out of the house and start over. My lawyer said this is what prenups are for, to protect pre-marriage and post-marriage assets. I just feel bad because I know what he stands to lose, even though he tore my heart to shreds. Am I the idiot for bringing up a clause in our prenup that screwed over my soon-to-be ex-husband? Not the idiot. Stop taking advice from anyone except your lawyer. If you had cheated, your ex would be taking you to the cleaners, to the wall. Block his family. Don't pick up unknown numbers and tell your friends that you won't talk about the divorce agreement anymore and they shouldn't bring it up. If they keep at you, cut them out. You earned your money and you deserve it. Your ex wanted the prenup, so he gets to have it. He chose to cheat. Plus, he clearly told his affair partner that he was trying to divorce, but his horrible witch wife wouldn't let him. So he's a cheater, liar, and idiot manipulator. I bet his family encouraged the prenup because he was always going to be the bigger earner, and because they assumed OP was more likely to cheat. They had a poor opinion of her worth and wanted to protect him at her expense. A mistake is using salt instead of sugar in a recipe, OP. He did not make a mistake. He made hundreds of decisions to cheat. This was a choice. He chose to betray you, and by doing so, he chose to screw himself over financially. A long-term affair isn't some accident, and you can be assured if his affair partner hadn't contacted you, he would still be having the affair and keeping it secret. They know with my savings I could easily buy him out of the house and start over. What the heck? How did these people get such detailed information about your financials? For goodness sake, you seem like a smart person. Keep your private info private. Yeesh. Next time someone says to give him money, tell them, "Oh, are you raising money for him? Where's your donation?" My boyfriend 30 and I, 25 female, have been together for 3+ years, living together for 2. He has a young teen son. He had him when he was very young. He's at our house Friday night through Monday morning. Since we've moved in together, there's been an ongoing issue that my things end up in his son's room, especially if he's cleaning or moving stuff around. Last week I came home from work and realised my PS5 was missing the HDMI cord. Son's room, disconnected and on the floor, because his son was using it earlier and just unplugged it instead of putting it back, which he's a young teen and in his own world. My boyfriend let him borrow it, so he should have put it back when his son was done. Side note, I bought his son a couple of cords so my boyfriend would stop taking mine for him to use. No idea what happened to them. The other day I was looking for my dog's combing supplies. She has her own cabinet of dog stuff. They somehow ended up in his son's room. He said he was reorganizing the cabinet and took some things out, and he must have moved the comb in the process. Today, my boyfriend was taking a nap and I was going to go to the gym. I couldn't find my headphones. They're usually in my gym bag, but I'd taken them out to charge earlier today. I looked in his son's room but didn't see them, so I looked elsewhere but couldn't find them. When my boyfriend woke up, I asked him where my headphones were. He went into his son's room and said he accidentally put them in his closet while cleaning around the house. His headphones were also in the closet. I honestly lost it. I told him I was so tired of having to question where my things were. Our house is not cluttered. It's hardly messy. There's no reason for my things not to be in our room, and there's no reason for my things to be in someone else's room. I told him that if I have something in one spot, he does not need to move it. My headphones being on the charger doesn't inconvenience anyone. He said I was overreacting and that it's harmless to just go into his son's room and look for something if I need to. He said that he accidentally, subconsciously moves things and doesn't realize they're mine. I call BS because this has been an issue for 2 years. I told him I wasn't just going to leave anything that was mine around the house anymore, not even a pair of shoes at the front door. I also don't like looking in other people's rooms or playing hide and seek with my things. I would hate for someone to look through my things or room. If he wants to put his stuff in his son's room, by all means do it, which he does sometimes. But I told him to stop putting my stuff in there. I feel like an idiot just typing this. We have a great relationship and hardly argue. However, I have asked him in the past to please not do this, and he isn't getting it. Am I overreacting? Am I the idiot for not wanting my stuff in his son's room? Not the idiot. Your boyfriend has absolutely no reason to move your things. Growing up, my mother was a constant tidier and decided to move other people's things. It was a constant battle until she threw away research my brother was gathering for a paper, and then all heck broke loose. To this day, the number of things she moves and forgets where she put them is hilarious. When she can't find something, we tell her maybe you should have left it where it's always been. Keep looking. Just to clarify, are you sure your boyfriend is actually doing this and it's not his son taking your stuff and hiding it? If it's your boyfriend doing it, it's super creepy. Why is he only moving your stuff? Start moving his stuff into other rooms and don't tell him where to find it. Make him look for it so he can see how annoying and frustrating it is. He needs to stop touching your stuff, period. Sorry, but a bit funny. I don't see any reason for him to be stashing stuff in his son's room. I mean, seriously, you have your headphones plugged in and somehow it gets put in the son's closet? That's sheer nonsense. Try picking a central spot like the counter and tell your boyfriend to put them there if he ever has to move your belongings for any reason. You can also talk to his son and remind him to return your stuff if he borrows something. He's not so young that he can't do that himself. My girlfriend wanted a pizza. I have delicious frozen pizzas from the local Italian market. They're made fresh, and if you do them up on a pizza stone, they come out perfect. I've made these for us many times. It's a simple process. You put the pizza stone in the oven and let the oven preheat. Put the pizza on the paddle and slide it onto the hot stone. Once ready, you slide the paddle under the pizza and pull it out. Then put it on the carving board and cut it. Easy, right? Nope. My pizza stone was dirty. It was scorched, not dirty, so her brilliant idea was to make the pizza on my plastic cutting board. Because that way she could just take the cutting board out with oven mitts and cut the pizza without having to use all the tools. I got home to see black smoke coming out of my house and my girlfriend on the phone with 911. My dog is not on his leash and he's going crazy. I go to the front door to see if it's hot in the house or if I can see flames. No flames, no heat. I get to the stove and turn it off. I open the sliding door to let out more smoke and get my leash on the way out. The firefighters are there within 5 minutes and the smoke is already dissipating. They go in to make sure. All clear. Thank God they were there in less than an hour. It's covered by the city. If it had been over an hour, I would have been charged for the response. My oven is screwed though, and I have a lot of smoke damage to clean up. I told my girlfriend I was glad that she was okay, but that she was an idiot and she wasn't allowed in my house alone for a while. I took her key away. We don't live together, but she has roommates and likes having a big house to herself on her days off. She says that it's a mistake anyone could make and that I'm an idiot for calling her names. Yes, she said those words. She says it's my fault for not just getting microwave pizza and having to eat fancy. You're not the idiot. She says that it's a mistake anyone could make. If they're high as a kite, she has a point. But anyone over the age of 5 knows plastic melts. Dude, if heating frozen pizza in the oven correctly is outside her scope of abilities, you're not the problem. LMAO, right? If I'm high, I might forget I even put a pizza in the oven and then think, "What's that burning smell? Oh crap, I made a pizza," and go turn it off. But I'm not going to put damn plastic in an oven. Like, what is she, 5 years old? Normally I hate stories when people encourage a breakup, but trying to put a plastic board in the oven is such next level dumb I would feel anxiety about all the other basic crap I might have to explain. Like, does she know not to drink the toilet water, or the dog cannot answer the telephone, etc.? Do you really want to be in a relationship with someone so clueless as to endanger her own safety and yours? That was beyond stupid and so dangerous. I would have lost all attraction to someone who did that. I'm 25 female, engaged right now, and my mom is married to someone who isn't my dad. They got married 4 years ago and they started dating 6 years ago. I was actually living in another country at the time, studying overseas. I only came back home briefly for the wedding and only came back officially last year. So I haven't spent much time with my mom's husband. But being truthful, even if I had, given my age when they got together, I wouldn't see him as my dad or parent. Which is why he stunned me by telling me he wanted to give me away at my wedding. He told me he looked forward to doing it for all 3 of his girls. He has 2 daughters and a son, so I guess he counted me, and was excited at the thought of me being the first he gave away. I didn't like the way he worded it, giving me away, or the fact he approached me about this when he had no hand in raising me. But my mom loves him, so I was kind and said it was a sweet offer, a lovely gesture, but I wasn't very comfortable with that. We could figure something else for him to do if he wanted to be more involved in the wedding. This was met with him questioning why I'd say no, and saying he thought I'd be happier to have him do it. He said it made sense since I have no father in my life and grew up with no close adult males. I told him I had my mom, who raised and sacrificed for him. He was like, yeah, but she's no man, and I told him I didn't plan to have a very traditional wedding, so mom doing it wouldn't be strange at all. He genuinely never considered the fact I would ask mom, and he became very emotional when I brought this up. It was a mixture of embarrassment, sadness and frustration, and he was word vomiting all over the place. It got on my nerves because he was clearly not okay with me saying no to him. He told me he should have been my first choice, and it made no sense that he wasn't when he was the only father figure I had. I told him I never considered asking him once because he's not my father figure, or my parent, and that role generally goes more to a parent than a parent's new spouse. He looked so offended and told me the fact I never considered him a valid option stung. He told me I couldn't have his money then. I asked him what he meant and he said he'd been expecting to pay and mom had mentioned money. I told him that was nothing to do with him. It was money mom saved for my wedding as I was growing up that she'd saved long before him. I told my mom what happened and she was so embarrassed he acted that way. She said she'd talked to him, but I got a text not too long after from him that reminded me I'd hurt his feelings and offended him. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, and why the heck would he expect that he could give you away? He sounds like a big drama for being hurt by this. Even then, an uncle or grandfather would make more sense than a guy you've met 4 times and married your mom when you were already an adult and living in a foreign country. He is very entitled. You, just you. Fine if he had secretly hoped for it, but I'm still not sure why, but maybe he hoped you might see him as someone who cared. But anything else? Ew, just yeah. Not your place, not your right. Not anything that should give you the expectation that that would happen. And what the heck? The money thing? Why would he think he was paying anyway? Unless he now feels that the money your mom saved for you is his? That's all so gross. He's being childish but also grossly weird and entitled, presumably due to very traditional role expectations. Those role expectations are gross and uncomfortable for most women these days. My wife is a stay-at-home mom. We have 2 children, tweens. I pay all the bills, put money aside for the kids' education, emergencies, savings, vacations, retirement, etc., and then split whatever is left 50-50 with my wife. Recently, she's decided that I do not do enough around the house, so she wants me to start doing more chores. I asked if we were going to split up all the chores again. What I mean is that the kids have their chores, she has hers, and I have mine. So if she wants me to do more, I want mine redistributed as well. I think she can mow the lawn and do the yard work and house maintenance. This is not what she wants. She wants me to take on more of the chores we agreed would be hers, on top of earning all the money and all the chores I currently have. I asked her what she wanted me to do. She gave me a list. I hired a cleaning service and paid for it out of our budget before splitting the fund money. Now she says that I'm an idiot and being financially abusive. It's a fair compromise. Am I the idiot for hiring a cleaning service and paying for it out of my wife's budget? A compromise is an agreement made between both sides. From the description, it sounds like you did this unilaterally and are now dealing with the fallout. Everyone's the idiot here because even if her request was unreasonable, relationships don't survive unilateral decision-making and failure to communicate. Your children are tweens and I assume are not homeschooled. What exactly is your wife doing all week? Keeping up with the Kardashians? Or watching TikTok about how horrible and lazy men are? Part of her job, for lack of a better way to describe it, is to take care of much of the housework the majority of the time. And I say this as a woman. Your kids are old enough when they can do more chores and not less. I would get that she needed help with chores when the kids were toddlers, but with kids being out of the house, school, friends, hobbies, etc., for a big chunk of the day and not needing much attention even when they are, she is just lazy.